you owe you. Like, I stopped looking outside and I started looking in the mirror. Like, it's on you, bro. So it was at that point where it's like, you owe you, everything changed.
First of all, I got to say congratulations. You just had your 32nd anniversary with your wife, Dee Dee.
Yeah, my MJ.
Yeah.
My Magic Johnson.
Yeah. The Magic Johnson year, yes.
Yeah, no question.
Man, so awesome, man. And a little fun fact, your anniversary is on my birthday, August 23rd.
Okay. I knew it was from what I knew it was right there, but I know it's smack dab.
That's it, man. So we got those connections.
Yeah, no question.
So just even on that note with your relationship with Dee Dee, first of all, it's remarkable. 32 years is extraordinary, especially today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask you, how has your relationship with Dee Dee influenced your character and who you are as a man today?
We were talking this morning in worship, and we were just saying mirror. So I don't remember who the gentleman was, but he was saying to me, like, you think you ever retire? And I was like, absolutely. And he was like, nah, you're not going to retire. I was like, I will. And he was like, nah, when people like us who are obsessed, we never retire. I said, single people like us never retire. People who are married, who have accountability, they retire. So and Dee Dee was saying, yeah, what happens in life if you are human without a mirror, yes, you are powerful, but you're not sharpened, and so my marriage has been like sharpening me. Like, Dee Dee will always be like, all right, who's the public ET versus the private ET, and so Dee Dee has never been the cheerleader type. She's more like that Phil Jackson that's like, look, we already know you good. I want to make you great, so she's always poking holes. She's a professional hole poker, but with Dee Dee on one side and C on the other, I think that's why I've become one of the best to do, what I do in this field, because I have two people that are like constantly rubbing up against me, constantly sharpening me, so that's what Dee Dee has done. And, oddly enough, Dee Dee is also, she's been that hope. Somebody was asking me the other day about some magazine was like about homeless, and I was like, you know what? I did homeless with Dee Dee, so I never really, it was never really bad. Like, I always felt like, all right, E, this is temporary. Like, you're gonna get out of this abandoned building. Like, this is temporary. You're gonna eventually be somebody and do something, and you have to, because if you don't, you're gonna lose Dee Dee. So she's always been that phenomenal golden carrot that creator has put over me to go, hey, you're gonna lose this if you don't get your stuff together. So after 32 years, I was looking at her this morning, I was like, yo, I'm still attracted to her. Like, I still like being around her. And COVID really messed me up because I don't want to be around nobody else. Because I was with her alone for like almost 2 years in San Diego. We cooped up in the crib. We're not really going nowhere. And man, it's amazing to still love somebody after 36 years, and then not just love, but want to be with. We still building, we still dreaming, we bought the house next door to us in Michigan, so we're working on that. We're working on the church, renovating. We got the house in California, doing the floors all over again. So man, just working together and whatever. It's just like, I could have never, people ask how you doing, I'm saying beyond the dream. I could never imagine that we would have got here together, but I just know by myself, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So she is I don't remember the character in Charlie Brown, but she's my blankie.
Yeah. And of course, like, people can pick that up, if they really know you. And so, listen, you said something really profound there. You said she's a professional hole poker, right? So people tend to think like they see a great relationship, they see a great business, they see success, and they think that, that person's just got it. They don't really understand the tension that you have to be able to not just survive, but to be able to thrive and operate from and learn through. Because when she's poking holes, I'm sure it's not always comfortable.
No, I would think after so long, I would be used to it. But I got a call from one of my clients, and they were talking about one of the programs they were in. It was like, yo, I'm just discouraged. This person talking to me, disrespecting me. And I was like, I already know what it is. It's one of the coaches, and they're not saying what you want them to say, and you're paying. And so you feel like because you're paying, you have the right to tell them how to coach. And I'm like, yo, 1,000, I feel you. And I told the person, like, I feel you. Like, Dee Dee's still, to this day, how do I say this? While everything she says is truthful, the approach sometimes still aggravates me. It's like, yo, you gotta say it like that, And
Right,
Dee Dee's like, look, here's the deal. I don't want to lose any of the truth worrying about how I'm gonna say it. Like, I want to be able to concentrate on, yo, this is the truth. Like, this is where so just take the truth. And so sometimes we want the truth packaged a certain way, And so for me, I've literally up to this day, I've got to learn to go, man, Dee Dee's heart. Like, Dee Dee don't want nothing but the best for you. You understand when an air traffic control is telling the pilot something is wrong. The air traffic control, he or she's not getting on the plane. They're not flying. They're not about to crash. Nothing about to happen to them. They're not telling you because they get on the plane and they're going to have to deal with the repercussions. They're telling you because they really want you to be safe. Yeah. They really want the plane to fly and get to its destination without any hiccups. And so I have to remember, like, yo, Dee Dee's not getting on stage. Dee Dee's not writing a book. Like, Dee Dee's not directly impacted by this. She loves me. So yeah, that tension is real, but I have to grow and mature and say, E, what do you want? You want a cheerleader that's going to make you feel good and you're stuck in mediocrity for the rest of your life? Or do you want a little tension, but somebody's going to poke holes and make you better and make you the number one motivational speaker in the world, in the life, in the lifestyle that go, and the legacy that goes with that, bruh, all day. Give me feel, bruh.
Yeah.
Give me feel.
Triangle offense.
Give me feel, bruh. Because I grew up in Detroit, and I was a Piston fan, and I'll never forget they ran Larry Brown out. It was beef. They was like, yo, they not feeling my man. And then they got, rest in peace, Coach Flip Saunders, who everybody said was a player's coach. Like, yo, everybody loved him. And I'm sure they did, and I'm sure that's important. I just know as a fan, we never won another championship. We never went to the finals again. But I know under this person that they didn't particularly care for, we went to back-to-back. It was, at that time, Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Hamilton, Rick Hamilton, like that. Wallace, that group, phenomenal group. But when they got the coaches that they really loved, and everybody was feeling, and they, kumbaya, we never made it again. And so you have to ask yourself sometimes, do you want to win championships, or do you want to be just always happy? And so, bro, I love Dee Dee. We don't have to poke holes every day, all day, because I'm not working every day, all day. But when I'm writing a book or I'm doing a pot, whatever, I'm like, yo, D, I didn't even know you listen. She's like, I don't. But I'm listening to that.
Right.
And I'm going to make sure, you elevate your game. So yeah, man, it is a phenomenally, sometimes tense, critique, analyzation, but it's for my good. And Dee Dee is always, since I was 16 and she found me homeless, she has always had my best interest in heart.
Right. That's the anchor.
Yeah.
That's the anchor in your consciousness about that.
Yeah.
Because you just said such a great analogy too. A lot of people want that cheerleader.
Yeah.
Right? But what if we have a cheerleader? It's really difficult to be a cheerleader for the losing team, by the way. Right? You see the attitude, you see the morale go down when the team starts losing, right? Versus having the cheerleader for the winning team, which is going to challenge you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, man, that's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
Because really, if you really take a step back, and that's what she does for you, is like that bird's eye view of things, because we tend to want to see things through our lens and have this tunnel vision. And it's just like, why don't you get on the same page with me? I used to say that to Ann, like, you're not with me, right? Why are you not with me? And as I'm trying to go travel to this particular event, and we have, just enough money to pay the electric bill in the account. And she's like, we shouldn't be doing this. I was like, I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing, all the things. I'm like, why are you not with me? she's being logical.
Absolutely.
And seeing the bigger perspective.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I know you know this as well. Once we help to satisfy her needs, her psychological needs, it opens them up. It opens our partner up to start to be more of an assistant.
Absolutely.
And more of a, again, that Phil Jackson role of like really helping you to take things to another level.
And you know, here's a word as you were talking, I just keep hearing with Dee Dee, good judgment, decisive, driven, good decision maker. And I'm like, yo, E, you gotta admit, while you are whatever you are, energetic, you know, whatever you are, you're not always the best decision maker. Like you were homeless at 16. That's not a good, you dropped out of high school. That's not good decision making. So for me, man, I had to humble myself. And I really had to say, yo, she's just a better decision maker. She just her judgment is just better than yours. You know, went to college, finished on time, passed her NCLEX first time. She's just a better decision maker. Credit score 800, money in the bank. She just makes better. Just let it go. You know, stop trying to get her on your side, which is the losing side. You feel me? Like, just be real. You're losing. But when you let Dee Dee take the lead, you winning. So divorce this idea of you have to have it your way just because it's your way. You know, and I really did have to get to a point. It's like, yo, E, bruh, you're in love with, you have a fantasy with, it's your way. But if you really sit down and put your way through the test, bro, you failing. Like, you're not making good decisions. She's making good decisions. Just hand it over to her and then let her give you the triangle and tell you how to work the triangle. And then you get out there and you do the triangle. Because she's not going to come out here and do the triangle. She's not asking to do the triangle. She's just been watching you and she's like, you did get a couple commercials. You do have some endorsements. You did score 60 something, but you lost to Boston. And you didn't come here to get endorsements. You said that you wanted to win championships. And so the way you're doing it, I'm talking, but you're not winning this way. Your credit score is in the 600s. You're in your 7th year at college. You haven't finished yet. You know, you talk about this speaking career, but I don't see where it's manifesting. And I was like, you know what, E? Don't take it personal. Turn it over to her. Let her manage you. And then boom. And I don't even mean like literally manage me in terms of like my career. Just manage me as a partner. Right. You know, so once I let go, bro, and got rid of my ego, it's been smooth sailing since.
Powerful, man. You know, again, one of those big tenets for everybody is, you said this earlier on, you remember that she's on your side.
Absolutely.
She has your best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
And to put this analogy all together, you're on the same team.
We are.
But we tend in those moments of tension to be like, you're not on my team.
Yeah.
And that's just not the reality a lot of times. So, man, this brings us to this phenomenal new book that you've created for all of us. As I mentioned, the first time I sat down, I just breezed through the first 50 pages like in an instant, because of course I know a lot of your story just being around you for all these years. But there were pieces, there were certain scenarios, there were certain stories that were fleshed out that I didn't want to miss a second of. So it's You Owe You.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you decide to make that the title of the book?
Yeah, well, you know, it's so intimate. Like, you don't get to talk about everything that has impacted your life. But when people ask me like, yo, E, when did it happen? Like, you know, a lot of people that meet me go, bro, you was homeless. Like, literally, you were a high school dropout. Like, what was the switch? Like, how did you go from that to, like, okay, so let's just say you were where you were and you end up getting a job as a whatever at a restaurant. Okay, makes sense. But how you go from that to this? Like, and I always say to people, the day I stop saying, man, I would be so further along the road less traveled if my mama didn't get pregnant at 17. Like, man, she screwed me up. Like, yo, you a kid having me. Like, you were homeless, ma. Like, you grew up with 13 other siblings, grandma in a 3-bedroom house, you know, 1 bathroom. Like, yo, why you bring me into this? My father. Like, where were you, bruh? Like, you just had sex with my mom. Like, why weren't you? Like, yo, y'all brought me into an urban city. Like, the zip code you brought me into. Like, you brought me into this terrible reality. You know, like, bruh, what? And that kind of mindset had me homeless, eating out of trash cans, like just mentally. I know we could talk about the health, like people don't talk about, bro, the mental health of being homeless. Like the mental health of having an estranged relationship with the person that birthed you. Like, yo, the abandoned building was tough. The sleeping in, 10-degree weather, 10 inches of snow. Like, okay, yeah, frostbitten and walking around. Like, yeah, I got a kerosene heater. That's my cologne. I smell like kerosene wherever I go. That's tough. But what's hard, bro, is not talking to your mama. Like the person you had your first relationship with. And again, my old dude wasn't in my life, so it was just me and my mom until she got married. So it's like we had an emotional, a chemistry that was out of this world. And for us not to be talking and to be beefing, you're like, yo, I cuss my mom out, bro. I don't even cuss. Like, that's not even my swag, but I cussed my mom out, and I was at the lowest point of anger and hatred and bitterness. And I looked at my life and it was like, yo, E, you gotta be real, bro. Like, you left home, you homeless, you got your life in your hand. Look at it. It ain't on your mama no more. It ain't on your biological father. Like, you can't blame the teacher. Like, bro, you actually are homeless. Like, you got your own life in your hand and you losing. You was doing better at the crib. Like, look at you. You're not taking a shower. You're not brushing your teeth. You stink. Like, bro, look at who you are and where you go, bro. And it shift for me as I start reading self-help books and getting around, different people. It's like, yo, E, this your life, bro. You owe you. Like, you not 8 no more. Your mama don't owe you. Like, the courts ain't about to go, oh, you abandoned him. He's 17, 18. They not about to, bro, you not 2. If you was 2, the courts would jump in and be like, Mom, what are you doing? You're irresponsible. Take care of your child. You grown, E. Like, you making your own decisions for yourself. And so it was at the point where I was like, yeah, you owe you, bruh. Don't nobody else owe you from this point forward. Whatever dreams, goals, whatever life you want to live. And a part of that was DD too, because it was like, it's not fair to go into a relationship where this person is mutually beneficial. And I want to go commensalism because, I'm saying, like, I want to kind of make myself feel good. Like, all right, Diddy was killing it. I wasn't helping her, but I wasn't hurting her. I don't know. I might have been parasiticism. Like, I might have been, she got an 800 credit score. I'm mooching off her credit score. Like, I might have been, I ain't really making no bread. She working, she giving me her money. You feel me? And I got to a point where it was like, yo, E, I see why her mama hates you. Even though her father didn't rate, like, they went in the house together, he was still there to some extent. When I would see him, I could see why he felt like, yo, bruh, like, we didn't bring her into this earth and take care of for her to get with her, So at some point I was like, yo, E, you just don't owe you owe her. And so you got to get your stuff together. So, bruh, for everybody that's listening, just 3 quick words that shifted everything. You owe you. Like, I stopped looking outside and I started looking in the mirror. Before, I was looking outside like, yo, police officer that arrested me at 3 o'clock, why you pulled me over? You feel me? Like, it was all these other people. Why you pulled, bro? Because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Y'all 17, 18 driving around at 3 o'clock. But it was always the counselor's wrong, the principal's wrong, the teacher that sent me to the principal that kicked me out of Detroit Public School. Like, y'all all the reason why I'm here. And it was like, yo, E, most of them don't know each other, but they all know you. Like, you the common denominator, bruh. Like, it's on you, bruh. So it was at that point where it's like, you owe you, everything changed. So I did Secrets to Success. I did Greatness is Upon You. I did Average Skill, Phenomenal Will. And when C was like, yo, E, the world need a book now, not just your crew. The world need a book. What we own? And I was like, yeah, it's got to be you owe you. It's got to be, you got to take full responsibility for your life, especially if you live in this country. Now, look, we got a lot of challenges. But I'm going to tell you this. I've been to third world countries where it don't matter what time you wake up. It don't matter how talented and gifted you are. They just don't have the opportunities. So it's like, yo, E, you in the country, bro, where it's a lot of maybe trials and tribulations that are uniquely, for you. But even that is not an excuse for you not to take advantage of these opportunities that exist, bro. So that was it. It was like, yo, what's the one thing that helped me that I think is common amongst most of us? That's taking ownership. That's the one message that is not black, is not male, is not rich, is not poor, is not socioeconomic. The one message that is going to hit everybody that I've been through is you got to take full ownership and full responsibility for your life. That'll get them.
Facts.
Yeah, that one right there will relate to a lot. Not all 8 billion people, but we're going to get into the billions when we start talking about blaming, playing the blame game and not taking personal responsibility.
Yeah, you said it blatantly in the book, and I've never seen it just articulated so blatantly. You said victimhood is a mindset.
Yeah.
Victimhood is a mindset. So you articulated that, but then you also gave some practical things that we can do to start to deconstruct that ideal. Because when we're so latched on to this I'm a victim perspective, which so many of us are, and it's not to negate the fact that we've been through stuff, that things have happened and all these things, and you shared that too. But when we're giving our power away, really, by pointing fingers and blaming the world, we're putting ourselves in a position where we don't have the power to change. Right? So I want to talk about some of these steps that you gave.
Okay.
You said, number one, you have to take ownership of yourself. Again, very practical. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, okay, yes, you didn't get good grades. Why? Well, my teacher don't like me. I remember my mom used to be like, yo, you don't got no teacher that like you? She was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, don't know, like every teacher's against you. Like, that don't even sound right. But when you're a victim, it's always bah, bah, bah. And so I had to ask myself, okay, yeah, let's say teachers don't like you. And then, bro, it got real bad when I started like studying history, especially black history. And I'm looking at the Little Rock Nine. Like, yo, you got 9 kids going to a predominantly white institution with the National Guards. Like, they got to get escorted every day with the military and dogs. So they're literally going into a school where these teachers don't particularly care for them. You got other grown people outside spitting at them, calling them all kind of stuff. And bro, they managed to go in there and graduate and go to college and do. It's like, you mean to tell me you ain't go, like, they got police, like, they got a real problem. All your teachers is in the urban community like you, they black like you. Like, what? Tell me again what the problem is. Like, your teachers aren't against you, like, for real. So I was like, yo, bro, fess up. You're not studying. You do have some type of learning disability, whatever that is, but not to the point that you can't learn. It just means that you may have to read the book 5 times when somebody read it 1 time and they get it. And I used to be like, well, he could read it and get it. Why can't I? It's like, no, if it takes 5 times, just read it 5 times. So I had to take responsibility for, you're not going to class, you're not paying attention. When you are in class, you're daydreaming, you're not time on task, you're not meeting with the teacher afterwards or before, you're not meeting with other friends that know how to study and asking them what to, bruh, you're giving 50, 60%. What are you expecting? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to give 120, and then if you fail at 120, and Shawn, let me tell you something, bruh. I tell students this all the time. Yo, when you go to every class, when you read, when you take every test, when you do every assignment, I don't even care if you fail. A teacher's gonna give you, I do this in schools. I ask teachers to stand and I say, look, I come to every class, I raise my hand, I'm not disrespectful. Tell me what grade I'm gonna get. They're like, yo, I was gonna be real with you. At least a C plus, B minus. At least. Like, without even getting hundreds on tests. And so for me, it just meant, Eric, what part do you play in your own destruction? Own that. Own that part. Don't put it on your wife, your kids, the country. Bro, I got some stuff I can say about every entity. But I'm telling you, bro, when I start taking full ownership, full responsibility, I literally got my control. And I woke up one day, bro, was like, yo, I can't even believe I'm here. Like, I can't believe I went from that to this. But it's all because when you take responsibility, as you said from the book, at that point, you get a power that is lended to you. There's a source, you know what I'm saying, that's like, yo, bro, I got you. I'm back you. It's like when I used to be young and I played Miss Pac-Man and I get the banana, the strawberry, you know, the pear. You know what I'm saying? You start eating them jokers and you hitting the pop, boom, they running from me. It was like when I took responsibility, everything that once was attacking me is now running from me. And everything that I once feared, I'm chasing it. I'm going after it now. And it was all the power pill I didn't realize was ownership, was taking responsibility.
Come on.
Change the whole.
All right, I already see it. E's video game. It's coming. It's
it.
coming. I love that,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
All right, so we got take ownership as number one. Number two, this is like a little bit of a pivot, but still in that same vein. You said number two, you have to own your decisions.
Yeah.
You have to own your decisions.
Yeah. So I made my mom own hers. You lied to me. The person that I'm most closest to and the person that told me don't lie, you lied about my whole life. And so what I was doing was I was holding my mother responsible for her decisions, but I wasn't holding myself responsible for my decision. So the reality was, yes, your mother lied about your father, but the way you decided to deal with it, you never dealt with that. That's the real problem. The real problem wasn't that she lied to you. The real problem was you acted in haste and ran away from the crib, and your pride wouldn't let you humble yourself and come back. So now you live in an abandoned building, like, duh. Or at that time, living on the street first. I didn't do abandoned buildings till like deep into the game. When I started really understanding the homeless game, I was like, oh, okay, you ain't got to stay outside. You could like barricade yourself in some of these abandoned buildings. In Detroit, I was at that time living in Southfield. And so for me, it was like, yo, you made your mom, you held her to the fire, but you didn't hold yourself to the fire like you held your mom to the fire. And a part of this book too is like, yo, why is it so easy to be upset with people when they do you wrong, but you let you off the hook when you do you wrong? Like, why is that okay? Like, why is it okay? Oh, Shawn told me he was going to give me an opportunity, 50 grand. He ain't come through. But then I don't wake up on time and I miss an opportunity and I'm like, oh, bro, you just overslept. What? Like, I should hold me more accountable than you because you live in your life and trying to do what you supposed to do for you. This is my life. And so I was like, yo, E, if you could start taking ownership of the decisions that you made, why you decided to do that versus go, why didn't I just say, yo, can we go to counseling? Why didn't I say, yo, mom pissed, but can we just sit down and talk about why you did it? Like, what was the purpose of why you did it? Like, I have to take ownership of you acted impulsively about something and you could have went about that a whole different way. And everybody could have worked together to talk about where we are and where we can go from here. But instead, you just cussing folk out, threatening folk, acting stupid. And of course, Shawn, when I did it, of course, it was on a Sunday when everybody's outside cutting the grass. It's not in the afternoon on a Tuesday where nobody's, I'm doing it. Everybody's outside. Everybody's seeing it. So
full
now
drama.
Full drama on display. I should have got an Oscar, But so I just realized, E, you have to start taking ownership of your decisions because that's the real root of the problem. Not, how do I say it? The event, I realized, wasn't the thing. What is it? ERO? Like, it wasn't the event, it was the response. That's more important than anything. The event is what it is. A lot of events. But I didn't respond to the event in the way I should have, so the outcome ended up being homeless. And I was like, yo, E, that ERO, boy, you got to switch that. You cannot control events, but you can control how you respond to events. And if you take ownership, you respond different than when you give the responsibility away.
Yeah, I love how you broke down and kind of looked inside your mom's story, Mama T, and really looked at from her perspective, and you fleshed that out in the book itself, because again, you had this narrative about her making this decision, but not taking the time, especially in that moment, to actually understand why she did it and all the opportunities she was actually giving you.
Come on.
And it was really special. Yeah. Right. Continue to.
Yeah.
And even at the last event, outside of my wife and my kids, I spent more time with her, talking with her. She's such a special human being. You really highlighted her in a beautiful way in the book too.
Yeah, I had to, man. I did, because I didn't even realize you present them to the world before they get to present themselves to the world. And how you do that is critical. And even those who I would identify maybe as frenemies, the way I present them in the book is important. Why? Because I get to go first, and so it's very important for me in the book to make sure that we understand, like, we all got problems, but there's a reason why we come. And man, when I look back at Mom's Dukes, I'm like, yo, I didn't know it. I didn't understand some stuff. So mom's pretty much wrote, the intro. Like mom pretty much, had to break down where my grandma came from, where my great grandma, because I didn't know them like that, and I didn't know my grandmother's story because grandma. So it's funny we call her Lama, but it's slang for Lil Ma, Lil Mama. So it's like Lama. It just rolls through. I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, I never knew that was her. So my grandmother didn't talk a lot. Like she didn't share with us her past or whatever. So this was the first time I realized that my grandmother's mother died giving birth to her. So now it makes sense why my grandmother wasn't what she probably would have been had she been raised by her mom and got the things that a mother daughter, that chemistry and what. So grandma was more like grandpa, what I'm saying? Grandma was way more protective, made sure we had everything, but the nurturing part, wasn't. And so when I looked at my grandma, like, oh, in our history, like sharecroppers coming up to Detroit looking for a job, Chicago looking for a job, the Emancipation Proclamation, like, yo, this stuff is real. And I'm looking now how my people were affected by it. So y'all coming up north thinking that it's this, what I'm saying? It's this heaven up here. And, it's got its own issues being in an urban community, living in the projects, Robert Taylor in Chicago, Herman Gardens in Detroit. So like we really were a part of that good times. Like that was our life with our grandmother. And so now I got a whole nother level of respect for my mom because I'm like, yo, this what you, like this the mud you came from. And as a result of that mud, this is what you prepared me for. And you allowed me to become number one in the world because of what you did early on, where, yeah, Didi, phenomenal. And, I give Didi all her, but it's like, yo, mom's was the one that started that. We not going to be that. Each generation is going to get better. So, yeah, man, it just felt good to write in a way where I could. And I called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm about to loop you. What you do with the alley-oop, that's up to you. But I'm about to loop you and introduce the world to you and your genius in the way that you deserve that. And then hopefully, like I said, she'll take advantage. I had to tell her the Colonel came out with his recipe when, what I'm saying, he wasn't 30. So Ma still got a chance to take this part of it, and blow it up.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, she's got the game.
Yeah,
she does, man.
Yeah.
So again, victimhood is a mentality.
Yeah.
So we've got those first two pieces. The third piece that you gave was to set a standard.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the recipe for breaking out of that mental prison that we put ourselves in.
Yeah. So for me, what I realized was you were able to respond to your parents and the news the way you did because you didn't have a set of standards. So when you don't have standards, you just act any kind of way. When you have a set of standards, the standards also become an anchor. So for me, it's like one of my non-negotiables coming up because my uncles were all, let's just say they made very bad decisions being intoxicated that landed them in prison. And then I had aunts who also, let's just say, didn't have a healthy relationship, with alcohol. It wasn't recreational. What I'm saying? Let's just say that. It wasn't recreational. My own father, had his battle with whatever drug of his choice for years. And then my uncle died of cirrhosis of the liver. So one of the things I decided at a very young age with that information, Shawn, was I'm never going to drink or smoke. So some people be like, bro, ain't nothing wrong with drinking. I'm like, maybe in your family it's not. Maybe y'all can do it responsibly, but I just don't see a history of being responsible with alcohol and drugs. So I'm good on that. And so that was a standard. So because that was one of the standards that I got just growing up in the home, I didn't have really a lot of personal standards. When I was with my boys that was doing stuff they shouldn't do, I was always sober. So I was always able to get out of certain things because I was always sober. I didn't have a child, I was sober. You know what I'm saying? That was another thing because of what happened to me. I was a virgin. Like I didn't want to have sex because I saw it as, man, y'all had sex and y'all left me out here. Like I wasn't in a marriage. I wasn't in a, a nursery we gonna pick the name together. We're gonna have a baby shower, and we're gonna go to the church and bless you. Like, I didn't have that. So I was like, yo, I'm good on sex. I'm good on, alcohol and, substance. And so, but I didn't have my own personal other stuff that made me go, honor thy mother and thy father. Like, we didn't grow up in church, so I ain't see no honor thy mother and father. Like, I don't know nothing about that, so I'm disrespecting them. But maybe had I had a principle or some standards, I would have been like, it doesn't matter how angry you are, honor your mother and father. This is your mom, is your dad. Don't disrespect them. And so as I got older, I started realizing, like, yo, bruh, standards aren't meant to hurt you. Cats who like, I want to be free. Well, if you're real free, you have boundaries. Like, there is no real freedom without boundaries. You're not free unless you got a bunch of boundaries that's protecting your home or protecting your stuff. And so I realized, okay, E, you need to start creating standards, so when the demon Eric Thomas, when the dark Eric Thomas rises, those standards could say, like, yo, bro, you doing us harm. And you don't get to do us harm just because you're us. Like, you don't, because you're me, you don't get to destroy us. You don't get to make decisions that's gonna tear everything down that we built up. I'm gonna hold you in check just like I will hold somebody else in check. So that's what those standards did. They actually provided me with emotional, mental, physical health. I was a vegetarian, for a long time. And I think it was important because when I was eating meat, it was just meat and starch. So being a vegetarian was the start of me introducing my body to vegetables. Because when you're homeless, bro, it's like you don't have the best diet. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't have grocery stores, but I'm saying homeless folk, Yeah. But those standards started to protect me. And the crazy part also, Shawn, those values started to allow me to attract myself to other people. Because there's some people that like, you could make $1 million, $2 million with my man. I'm like, I don't know if our values and beliefs align. Like, I got to bring my wife around him. I got to bring my kid. I don't know if I'm, So I also realized you get rid of a lot of garbage when you have standards. Yeah. So for me, standards were the thing that I think allowed me to get a victor's mentality, and keep that victor's mentality. CJ, they'd be upset with me because, we went to Michigan State. And Michigan says this, but it's true. Hail to the victor. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to say that because that's Michigan, but the truth is, hail to the victor, not the victim. And so once I got standards, man, from that day forward, I just took off.
Yeah, man, so powerful. So even going back a little bit, because this is something I haven't thought about ever in knowing you and knowing your story. The fact that you were maintaining a standard even when you were homeless. Because oftentimes there's this connection that we see with somebody being homeless to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and you already had the standard, I'm not participating in those things. You had the audacity to be this great human being in this one facet where you're adhering to your standard, especially with so much darkness around you, so much anguish, where you could turn to those things like you've seen in the environment, that outlet, and you just decided, no, that's not who I am. And so to talk about the power of standards is so remarkable. It's like you just said it, because freedom is not free. So it's creating these boundaries for you to operate in and to have all the freedom within that, right? Versus this thing, if you don't have a standard, just intercepting your life constantly, So I could definitely identify with that, and seeing that in the environment around me. I'm really the only person in my family who chose to not participate in those very same things. And I always wonder, like, because I would see my siblings, I would see my cousins, just like, don't you guys see what's happening? Like, we're not gonna be that, right? Right. So in my mind, it's just like we got the message, but nah, it takes, you have to set the standard, because even if you play with a thing, right? So this brings us to the fourth portion here in this recipe. This is a big one. No excuses. No excuses.
I so love excuses. They like dessert to me. You know what I'm saying? I absolutely love, excuses. But honestly, excuses are, again, not a human. You need to take responsibility. But now you're giving your power away to a circumstance or situation. You feel me? And so people say to me all the time, like, yo, bro, you should be talking about boom, 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 boom. You got a platform. You out here, why you not addressing? And I'm like, yo, I'm not addressing it. I'm not addressing it first in the way you want me to address it, because I'm addressing it. I'm not addressing the way you want me to. I'm not addressing it on a podcast, but I'm out in the trenches for real addressing it. But what I will not do is I will not give the power that our young people have to any circumstance or situation. Because if there's a circumstance or situation that a human created, you have the power to overcome that, because it was a human that created it. So anything a human does, as a human, you could counterattack the attack. So for me, then the excuse is giving you an out from making your dreams and goals become a reality. And we can't do that. Like, we're in a no-fly zone. You know what I'm saying? It's a no-fly zone. It's a no-excuse zone. Like, we cannot make excuses. Why? Because excuses create opportunities for us not to make it happen. So when people say racism, bruh, that's it. Okay, you call that an excuse? You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's not going to stop me and Didi from living the lifestyle we supposed. It's not going to stop me from PJing first class in it. It's not going to stop me from Dubai, whatever. I don't care what my man think about the color of my skin. That's his problem. That don't have nothing to do with me and my family and my dreams and my goals. You're not about to stop me. I don't care what legislation you put together. I don't care what you think about me, what you say about me. It does not matter. Why? Because that has nothing to do with this temporary experience called life that I only get so many years, and I want to live it to the fullest. That is not going to stop me from Didi, where you want to live, what you want to drive, what you want to eat. Food is expensive in California. I could care less how expensive it is. Didi, what you want to eat? How often do you want to eat it? What color do you want? Do you want it room temperature, hot? Like, we got a temporary experience. I'm not about to. Okay, now if we live to be 2,000, maybe I got 100 years of excuses. Bro, I might not even make it to 100. And if I do, I guarantee you it won't be with the same independence. You feel me? So if I'm 100, I'm not going to be able to run, the 50 and the 4.2. I might still be able to run, but it's not going to look like how I was running when I was 21. So for me, excuses are the more complicated things that are meant to stop you from living the life you want to live. And so, no, we can't do excuses. We can only do execution, because execution guarantees. CP3 hit me up and was like, bro, the speech you gave those kids yesterday, I just want to thank you again. So that execution makes the relationship mutual, which extends the relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That joke will make that mutual. So we about to extend this boy. So we're going to extend the mutualism. Like, I was like, yo, see, I ain't trying to be funny, but I take kids to the Super Bowl. He's like, I know. He was like, it's in Phoenix this year. I was like, 1,000%. So because you there, Dev there, I want to enrich the experience these kids have. He's like, let's go. But had I had an excuse for why I didn't do good at the event he brought me to speak, dude walked up to me. He's like, bruh, I'm 51 years old. I worked for ESPN for 21 years. He was like, I just want to give you context. I'm not some random dude off the street. I've never heard a presentation like that ever in my life. And I know you were talking to these kids, but as a 51-year-old, I took notes. Bro, that's execution.
Yeah.
So when you execute like that, I was like, oh, does that mean the pub that CP3 gave me for my book on your camera with your audio, does that mean I'm going to get it a little earlier now? He was like, I got you. I was like, thank you. So execution begets execution. Excuses are a result of missed opportunities. And the one thing that we're not gods, so we don't know how many opportunities we have. So for me, it's like excuses are glorified distractions to making my dreams and goals become a reality.
Come on. And CP3, Chris Paul, he wrote the foreword for your book.
Yeah, my God.
As well. Everybody make sure it's out right now. Make sure you pick up a copy. Please, you. Very, very special book.
Pretty, please. Which camera is that, please? Pretty, please.
Listen, so much that you've given to all of us, man, to the world. And you know this, there's so many people. You never know who's listening. You never know whose heart you touch. And so this is just our opportunity to pour back into you and to support this project. So it's already done, E.
Yeah, thank you.
Something else. So we've got this framework here to break out of that victim mentality, that truly it's something that puts us in a straitjacket. You know, it inhibits us from creating a life that is possible for us. Doing that portion is critical. And now we get to that part where even in that moment, even when you were experiencing homelessness and you still carried your standard, you still carried these character traits that led to the person you are today. So, and you talk about this in the book by articulating, because somebody might even hear this, okay, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm going to take control of my life. But what do I do with my life? I'm not you. I'm not Eric Thomas. I don't have this talent. And you talk about activating or accessing our superpower. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I believe that every human is brought into the world with a gift or gifts, whether that's you are supportive of other people, you know, and they can't get to where they need to get to without the type of support you provide for them. Whether you are a leader and you have the ability to help people move from one point to the next. And I say that because people say all the time, I'm a leader. I say, listen to me, if you're a pilot, you're not getting in the plane to fly yourself. Right? You're getting in a plane to fly somebody else to their destination. So a real leader is a person that helps other people get from point A to point B. If you're like me, like, yo, you just provide fuel and energy and inspiration to the world. Or if you're like one of your many traits, you're strategic. You know, like you have the ability to be analytical and think things through and make connections, right? Those are all gifts. So I think what we do sometimes, and I told my daughter this, I couldn't believe my daughter was going through this. Jada's such a strong human, you know, but she had come to me right after graduating with her master's, was like, Dad, I feel a little bit behind. I said, behind? Behind what? And I said, no, not what, I'm sorry. Behind who? You've been on the internet again, haven't you? You've been scrolling through the internet, haven't you? And you've looked at this person's internet, paying this person's profile, I said, you 24 with a master's degree. Behind who? I said, I don't know the world's population with a with an advanced degree. That's a small number, you know, and you went to Michigan State and you were exposed to all the things at Michigan State, and you traveled the world and you speak I'm like, yo, I don't get it, you know? And so the thing I would say is that everybody has something, but sometimes you don't know that you have it because you're looking at your sister and what she has, or your brother or what she had. But I want you to go back to the time where people were like, can I count on you to do this when you were in school? And can you do that? Or can you do that? Or your friends love you for this. Like, that's a gift. And that gift can turn into purpose. Now let's leave the money alone, because people like money, man. I was just in Milwaukee, and you know, folks was like, I'm sorry, Minnesota, people were like, yo, can you talk to this kid? And can you talk to this kid? I'll do a CP3 thing. And the kid was like, yo, bro, I'm not trying to be funny, I know you big time, but yo, I watch your videos, can we talk? I'm like, let's go. Bruh, I go to bed at night not to make a bunch of money. I go to bed at night hearing people say, yo, you helped me get through cancer. Like, I had 28 chemotherapy treatments I had to go through, and I put your stuff in my ear. Yo, bro, I lost 300 pounds listening to your stuff. You know, sometimes people say stuff like, you know, man, I made $12 million last year listening to you. All the stuff they say, I was like, yo, which video is it exactly? Can you shoot me that video, please?
Let me listen back.
I need to listen back, bro. What part exactly? You know, and so it is the purpose of what I do that is the thing. And so I think so many people caught up on money and status and fame and whatever, fortune that you get. You don't understand that what makes us go to sleep at night and feel good about ourselves is the value we add in other people's lives, the value we add in our own. So for me, when I spoke for the first time and realized, yo, they liked it. Oh, I think they like it. I was like, oh, I actually have something that I can contribute. Like, you know, when I was a kid, I'm sure maybe, you know, you as well, when you go to your aunts or your grandmas and they make this Thanksgiving stuff, it's like I go in like, yo, this stuff is great, but I don't really have nothing to bring. But I remember getting older and going to college and then coming with my family, and no, I ain't my grandma and I couldn't cook like my grandma, but, you know, I went to the store and got water, I got the juice, and I brought it, and I'm coming in the house now like, yo, I'm not the one that's just coming to eat no more. Like, yo, I got a little money, I got a wife, I got my grandson, and my grandma loves to see more than she loves to cook. My baby's here, and I'm like, yo, I'm bringing something. And then, Shawn, I really got big time, and I learned to do the turkey so well that everybody want my turkey every year. And what a joy it is, you know what I'm saying? Coming in that joke like, hold up, y'all, I gotta go in the kitchen first. Grandma, here go the turkey. And so it wasn't eating that I enjoyed anymore. It wasn't being a child. It was contributing to the world. And so here was a little church with 50 or 60 people who absolutely loved hearing me present. Then I went to Oakwood, and here are a couple hundred kids that love me and so you're looking at now the millions that follow me. But bro, I felt the same way with the first speech I ever did. And it was like, yo, this is what I'm bringing to the table from now on. Yeah. You feel me? And so I'm telling you, for those of you listening, you want to be happy, you want to experience joy, start bringing something to the table. Yeah. Whatever that might be, for your family, for the school, for your community, for the church, you start using your gift and helping the people that's in your space. Man, it's the greatest feeling in the world, feeling wanted and needed, feeling a sense of belonging. Man, it's the greatest gift in the world.
Yeah, man. You give so many practical ways to access that superpower. Yeah. I remember CJ saying that, you know, one of those ways to find your gift is to ask yourself what comes easy to you that's difficult for other people, right? What comes easy? Because a lot of times our gift, we negate it because it's easy for us. It's natural to us. And, you know, especially today when there's so much distraction. Another big part of this equation, like you just said, Jada's getting to scrolling on social media. We get distracted. It's another, not just a voice, but thousands of other voices. And so we don't have that still time, the quiet time to really look within, to ask these questions, right?
Homeless is what, bro, that's all homeless was for me, was alone, listening to my voice, or I shouldn't say listening, but figuring out what my voice was, you know, versus my boy saying, yo, let's go over here and do that. And I was like, that's not, my voice ain't saying, let's go do that. And then being courageous enough to go, yo, my voice ain't saying do that, so we not about to go do that. And even when it got to a point where there was someone who was very influential in the group and who had looked out for me in a way the group had looked out for me, that almost made me feel guilty to do it, that I had to call on a higher power and pray and say, yo, God, I don't want to do that. And I don't feel, and he was like, nah, the power is in you. Say no. You can say no and be okay. Like, nobody, they love you. Like, you think that you can't say no. There's something in you. So there was this voice telling me, your voice is deeper than what you think your voice is. You rely on you. Like don't rely on me. Meaning, you know, some people are like, oh, well, I'm a believer. I believe you should rely on God. No, what I was hearing the Creator say was, I already created you with a voice. You got to start listening to your voice and being obedient to your voice. So it's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm still here today. And I said no. And that crew calls me, you know, periodically, and like, we proud of you, bro. We see what you're doing. You're an inspiration to us. So I think being homeless is not as bad as I thought it was, because it gave me an opportunity to hear my voice more than the other voices. And when you listen to your voice, man, you're going to be successful. When you listen to somebody else's voice tell you to do some stuff, right, 50-50, man, probably not even 50-50 chance that stuff is going to be successful.
Yeah. I can't stress this enough, but it's also one of the most challenging things today, you know, to be able to look within, to have that time for introspection. Is so important, and we evolved with it for centuries upon centuries, thousands upon thousands of years, and there was no choice but to have that time with yourself, right? To be able to listen to your own internal voice. Today we are inundated, we are bombarded 24/7 with other voices and perspectives, and so to unplug from that just a little bit, you know, just a little bit. But what's going to tend to happen is it's going to be uncomfortable if you're not used to it. You know, those feelings, those things we stuff down can start to fester up and emerge. But it's there for us to address it. You know, I know you and the guys were recently just even talking about the GPS story on your show, on the podcast. Make sure to check out Secrets to Success podcast, by the way. But, you know, you guys also touched on, just very briefly, but I thought it was so powerful, the understanding that anxiety is not all bad. Like we just have this negative label for the thing. But we actually had on a neuroscientist sitting right in that chair, right where you are right now, and Dr. Wendy Suzuki. And the title of her book is called Good Anxiety. All right. And she was talking about this important biological feedback that anxiety can give us.
I heard her.
But developing the tools to be able to understand what this anxiety is trying to tell me and to operate in a healthful way, versus we have a culture where we'll take something to suppress it. We'll do something to suppress it. We'll ignore it. Entertainment, whatever. And eventually, though, that thing's going to cause some dysfunction, whether it's your body or your mind.
Yeah. Like she said, it produces what it produces. You know, if you let it, if you don't suppress it, it's actually going to take you to another level. Yeah. And I welcome it now. I don't stress about it. I welcome it. I say this anxiety is here to help me grow and take me to another level. So whatever you're here to do, you know, however you're here to help me grow, I want to sit down and enjoy this relationship in a way that I couldn't 10, 15 years ago.
Yes. Listen, our bodies and our minds are intelligent, and you are not broken. It's just being able to better associate with yourself is the key. So this brings us to, this is probably my favorite quote in the book.
Okay.
It says, you can change environments, but until you change yourself, nothing will ever change.
Man, I just had friends that, you know, were substance abusers. I'll never forget. It don't matter what city I brought them to, bruh, they would find it. I'm like, yo, how you find that? How you find that here? Who do you know that? You don't even know nobody here. How did you find, how did you? And it just showed me, it's like, yo, it's not the environment. The environment follows the human. The environment follows the human. It's not like, yo, I'm in this environment, but when I leave and I go to Kansas, that's gonna be no, it's not. Whatever environment you were in that city, you're gonna take that, you're gonna go to the next city, and the cues and the clues and the rules are gonna be like, hey, here we go. You're looking for this, here it goes. We looking for that, here it goes. And so for me, bro, when I travel, everybody was like, yo, how you know all these good people? Like how you know people that you can leave your wallet, your wife, your kid? Like how do you know so many good human beings? Like how are you with people that are not manipulative? Like, man, why you got friends that's constantly like pubbing you up and pubbing? Like, why aren't they envious or jealous? Like, why do y'all support each other in a way? Like, how do you get that many friends that's so supportive? I was like, yo, when you become supportive, you attract the supportive. When you become a person of standards and integrity, you attract the person. When you like, it's like, yo, all y'all married, all y'all not all happy. Y'all not all y'all kids that, come on, it's not. I'm like, bruh, when you become it, the environment supports what you become. It brings the right energy and the right people and the right human resources and physical resources and, you know, material resources. Like, the universe is like, yo, this is who you are. So we're gonna set you up for great. You know, Didi's, you know, eating a certain way, and it's like, yo, we stayed at the pub to the JW Marriott, but we stayed there downtown, and you know, Didi's doing this certain diet, bro. Yard House is right there, and they got everything. And I'm like, yo, we going together. And I got the quinoa, they got it. You know what I'm saying? They got the kale, they got the salmon that I want. You know what I'm saying? Well done, it's phenomenal. It's 400 feet from the, it's like, yo, I didn't even know it, but I didn't even choose the hotel. But everything just, when they know I want kale in my system, I want the quinoa, like I don't want to do the carbs, but I still want a nice, healthy meal. I'm on the road. It's right there, you know. And so Didi wanted the whatever kind of protein I don't know what it was she wanted, but they had it, and it was she liked it was tasty, you know. So for me, it's like, bruh, when you are, the environment supports, you know, who you are. But for so long, I thought if I would just get out of my parents' house, my life would be better. I was homeless.
You're taking you with you.
I went with me. I was with me everywhere I went. I couldn't get away from me, you know. And that's why I said, with a real Eric Thomas, please stand up. And I knew it was another Eric in there, and I wanted him to emerge and lead us and not the trifling, as my grandmother would say, the irresponsible, the victim dude. I didn't want him leading us no more. I wanted the victor to lead us. And he finally emerged, and my environment changed and everything changed once he emerged. Like you said, I don't think that there's something that's going to miraculously happen to you. I think that person is inside of you. Like you said, you just haven't connected the mind, the body, the soul. Like you haven't gotten on one of the chords in alignment with everybody to bring that best person out. But I do believe for all of us, you know, that person is inside of all of us, waiting desperately to come out. Pick me, get me in the game. Let me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready to take us to the championship. You know?
Yes, sir. Hey, if you like this video, make sure to check out this video right here to optimize your mindset.
Most people suffer from an attention deficit disorder and an intention deficit disorder. So their mind is all over the place. Their mind has been hijacked by worry, fear, anxiety,